I am so excited to be here with you all today. Let me do my little intro and we will get the ball rolling. So what are we talking about today? I am so excited to talk about what I call the New Year, New You narrative. I mean, we know it's the first of the year. We're hit with all of the advertisements for how we can fix ourselves, right? From our bodies to our mindsets to the list could go on and on and on. So for the next couple of weeks, I really want to talk about this narrative and who does it actually serve? Today, I have brought on an amazing guest who is a money mindset coach. Because I really believe that the two things that get hit the hardest in the New Year, New You narrative is our bodies and our wallets. So here is Jessica Kleine, and I'm going to bring her to the stage. And there we go. So Jessica, hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I am so excited to have this conversation with you. And before we get started, could you tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I am a money and mindset coach. Basically, what that means is I help women with their money, with the actual numbers, but also with the important piece, which is the mindset and the thoughts, beliefs, habits, patterns, all of that gets wrapped up with it so that they can really start to make some changes in how they spend their money, how they view their money, how they make their money, pretty much all the money things.
Okay. And for those of you who are new to my channel, you might not know what I do. And so I am a wellness rebel, which means everything that wraps around the whole New You narrative and the New Year, New You narrative is probably something that I believe negatively impacts women. And so I want to help women connect with their inner healer and actually create bespoke, personalized approaches to well-being that don't fit into those one-size-fits-all solutions or cookie-cutter type of programs. And so inviting Jessica to talk today, I thought was a great way to open up the new year. You know, I kind of turn my media and everything off on the first and the second, and because I just don't want to be hit with all of it. We have enough on our tables as women. I am a wife of 30 years, a mother of 5 young adult kids. And the last thing I need on replay, besides my brain, right, is telling me all the things that I need to fix. So if wellness is important to you and if your financial situation matters to you, which of course it does in today's economy, right? Jessica and I today want to talk a little bit about why we think the New Year, New You narrative isn't serving you at all. And we're just going to jump into there. So jump into the conversation there. How does that sound, Jessica?
That sounds great. I've been having a lot of similar kind of conversations with clients and just with friends lately about how this new year feels so like it's this magical time where it's a clean slate and everything is going to be perfect after the calendar flips. And it very rarely turns out that way. And people get very stuck in making the calendar the boss of them. Like, if I don't have everything lined up and I don't have everything perfect, forget it. My whole year is ruined. Like, we're on day 4 of the year. And how many people already fell off the wagon of their diet or their workout, already overspent that they weren't expecting to. So it's an interesting concept that I love the idea of a clean slate, but also the pressure that goes around it is a little much.
You know, I totally agree. And one of the things that my audience knows is really important to me is that I don't want to be anybody's guru. I don't want to be your expert. I want to give you what you need to be your own expert. And I know, Jessica, that you kind of feel the same way. And so one of the things that I try to do when I'm talking about a new subject is either bring in the science or bring in the data, because that's not me. That's Google. Okay. And I want to really have open conversations because it's not my intention to change someone's mind. It's like, if you think New Year, New You is good, well, then this conversation probably isn't for you. But if you're wondering, or if it makes you feel kind of in your gut, I want to bring in a little science. So I went and pulled some stats about resolutions, right? So everybody's favorite thing, because isn't it about resolutions? Don't you think, Jessica?
It is. I hate that word, but yes, resolutions and all of that. It is. It's a line in the sand that people draw, and they're like, I will not do this, or I will only do this. And I have my own opinions on that. So,
we'll get into those opinions. And I also want to talk about the idea that whenever someone's talking about something that they need you to fix, they're almost always asking you to invest, to take money out of your coffer and hand it over to them. So we have to think about it when these resolutions, when I read these statistics, if we're actually putting dollars towards these resolutions, we really need to take a step back and re-examine where we're putting our money, right?
Always.
So the University of Scranton said that only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. So when we think about all the gym memberships, right? And all the money that we invest in the new supplement program, the new detox, the new this and the new that, only 8% of people will actually see that resolution to fruition.
Yep.
Which means they're in so what would you say about the amount of money that's being invested at this time?
I mean, it's great for gym membership. It's great for the people doing the selling, because you're selling a dream, which is fantastic. Everybody needs a dream. Everybody needs a goal, whether that's your word or not. But because of the expectation that people put on themselves this year, they want to throw their money at things because that's going to fix the problem, except that it's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to throw your money at things. It's a cycle that they end up getting stuck in. I'm actually surprised 8%. I would have actually thought lower than that, to be honest.
and you know what no one's talking about is this idea of overwhelm. I mean, let me rephrase that. We're all talking about how overwhelming and how frustrating it all is. Yet the tune-in rate to the New Year, New You narrative is through the roof. It doesn't make any sense. The last thing we need to do is jump into a new program or a new something, investing our dollars when we are overwhelmed and frustrated. And we have to ask the question, these people, the big wellness industry, this, I think the last I heard it was 5.4 trillion and growing by 20% in the next 5 years each year. They're not really concerned about your overwhelm and your frustration.
Right.
And our mental health, I mean, we've had a couple of interesting years, to say the least, right? What do you think about our, money mindset and mental health and all of that?
Well, it's all connected. Money touches every single aspect of life. And when you are not sure what it is that you even want, which I think is the biggest problem with this time of year, people are told what they should want and what you need to be focusing on and what you need to be doing. And that's what leads to that overwhelm you were talking about. Oh, well, I have to change this about my body. I have to change this about my house. I have to change this and this and this. A lot of times, especially for women, when we get overwhelmed, one of our fallback responses is to spend. That's one of the feel-good, retail therapy kind of thing.
Dopamine.
Exactly.
Dopamine starts coming in, right?
Yep. And marketers know that. And so this is a prime time for kind of pushing those buttons. Women are already exhausted from the holidays. It was a stressful time, or, for a lot of people, could be a hard time for, emotions are high. Schedules are out of whack. Kids are over sugared. Like, there's just so much going on.
We're over sugar too, right? We just came off Christmas and the New Year and Thanksgiving was like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So we're all feeling this idea like we ate too much. We kind of fell off our workout routine, haven't been on the mat or haven't been meditating. And we're looking for that kickstart, that jump that we need. And more than likely, it's not going to be through resolutions and this whole narrative that just wants you to hit your wallet. And I will say, what would you say? And I'm curious, Jessica, we need to invest so what is this idea? Because I know, like, when I work with my clients, if I just gave them everything that I was doing absolutely free, it would end up in the back. The emails would never get read. The things would never get done. There needs to be a point of investment. But how do we do that? How does an entrepreneur, how does someone like you do that in a way that you feel like you're serving the women that work with you versus taking advantage of them?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with each individual entrepreneur and just the energy behind it. Like, if you are somebody who has a business, obviously we all have businesses. We do want to make money. That's the point. We're in business to make money. We're not running a nonprofit. But the underlying isn't, how can I make more money from this person? The underlying is, how can I help this person more by allowing them the opportunity to invest with me for that energetic kind of an exchange that goes along with it.
I love that idea of that energetic exchange, because one of the things that I think is really important for me, and I do this with whether someone's paying me or I'm paying someone, I really want to get a return on my investment. I want to know that if I give somebody X amount of dollars for something, that I'm going to get 3, maybe even 4 times back. My life is going to improve. My relationships are going to improve. My business is going to improve. And not just from dollars and cents, but actually feeling good in my body, reducing that overwhelm and frustration that we were talking about. And so much of the whole new year, new use narrative to me feels more like a money grab. It doesn't feel like it's community. It doesn't feel like it's a two-way thing. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I do. I just the holidays in general, I am not a fan of obligatory gift giving. I don't like the pressure and feeling obligated but I'm also somebody who's like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do it when I want to do it. But this whole season, it kind of like begins in September, when starting to promote all the holidays and the spending and the gift giving and all of that. So that by the time we do get into New Year's, like, we're already kind of pre-trained and primed for, well, I've got this for everybody else. Now it's my turn. So sometimes those tables, though, okay, it's my turn, but to what end? Like, yes, I'm a big fan. You need to invest in yourself for sure. But what are you investing in? Do you really know what you're signing up for? Do you have a connection with the person? You know, it's more than just like, oh, that looks good, and clicking the button. But a lot of people just get caught up in the rush of it and don't really get any farther than that.
Well, one of the things, we're talking about this idea that the resolutions, only 8% of them actually succeed. We're talking about the mental health concerns. And I think too, that when I'm looking for someone to work with, or, when I'm working with my clients, I'm sure you're the same way. In fact, I've heard you often talk about gratitude and awareness. Yeah. So can you give us a little bit, if you were going to, jump on to, not necessarily a bad wagon, but if you had a goal or something that you wanted to step into in 2024, not in the first month, okay, that you were looking that it would actually maybe take you a year to accomplish it, how would gratitude and awareness play into that?
Well, one of the things is, so goals have always been really hard for me. So they feel like a magical unicorn thing. It's just something that, I'm going to set this goal, but I've never really understood or taken the steps that you need to get there.
So true.
So I'm somebody who likes to set an intention. So when you're setting the intention for the year, that's your whole journey. That's not just the end result that you're looking for. You're not looking for just the outcome when you have an intention for your year. So that gives you a lot of space to grow and a lot of space to make lots of different tweaks on your way to get to wherever you're going. So the awareness piece is, I think we were talking about this before, where it's whatever you're focusing on is obviously what you're going to be growing. If I am focusing on, I have to pay off this debt, and I'm so worried about debt, and I'm so concerned about the payments and the bills are going up, if that's what I'm always focusing on, I'm going to have a really hard time trying to step into this abundance kind of a feeling and feel like I'm full of overflow and feel like the debt's going away and all of that. So one of the things that I take my clients through is, the first step is awareness. You need to be aware of your thoughts. You need to be aware of your energy. You need to be aware of your money and where it's going. And one of the ways we do that is through a gratitude practice, because when you are training yourself to always look for the good around you, you're naturally focusing on more as opposed to the scarcity, which is what most people I talk to are stuck in.
Yeah, it so resonates with me. One of the things that I spend a lot of time on, not only with people that I work with, but myself. I mean, part of the reason that I started my business was because I wanted to hold myself accountable to my well-being. And I was like, okay, what better way to do it than, okay, let's go on YouTube and tell everyone that my priority is my well-being and that my brain matters to me and that my body matters to me. But in having those conversations with women, I totally agree with you that self-awareness is so key to all of this. And so is acceptance, this gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude, like I may want my body to be X, Y, and Z, or my cognitive health to be something down the road. But I have to start with where I'm at right now. And I have to be grateful for what I have. I have to be grateful for the parts of my body that are strong. Although I have these parts of my body that are weak and I want to work on them. And we hear a lot in this wellness world about self-love and self-love care and all of this. And it really comes down to, it's not just about embracing your body as it is and then saying, well, the rest of it doesn't matter. You know, I have a great grandmother, a grandmother, and now my mother who has Alzheimer's. And, you know, when you watch cognitive decline over and over and over again, I want to accept my body. I'm almost 60 years old. I've had 5 kids, 6-pack abs, not happening. It's just not happening. Okay. But in the same breath, I want to stop that generational line of cognitive decline, dementia, and Alzheimer's. And that requires that I pay attention to my body, that I pay attention to my mind and my spirit. It's all. So having a gratitude practice and just practicing self-awareness and presence, I think is so important and a really good tool for navigating the whole new year, new you narrative in the first place.
Yes.
Because they really get us on that where we want to be in the future, right? Versus where we are right now. I also think that when you were talking about, you know, the goals and all of that, from a wellness perspective, you know, we hear about body size and what it's supposed to look like and what it's not supposed to look like. We get our beliefs about wellness from other people. We adopt them. We hold on to them. Yet, where are we? Where am I? Where are you? Where are women in general trying to figure out what their wellness beliefs are, what's good for their body, and stop looking at these cookie cutter and one size fits all kind of things. Another thing I've heard you talk about is this idea that money isn't about numbers.
Yeah.
And that I think, yes, absolutely. Because my health is not about the number on my scale. I'm a relatively thinner person and I've had some major health issues. So the scale did not define my well-being. My practices, the things that I do, all of that comes into play, but not my age. You know, just because I'm 57 years old doesn't mean I have to be put into certain boxes. So from a financial perspective, what do you mean when you say that money isn't about the numbers?
So I spent most of my life assuming that that was the case, that money is just a math problem. I did all the things right.
I did the same thing with wellness. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I looked
You're
at that
counting
scale.
the numbers and
exactly.
But what really is the part that matters to make the lasting change has nothing at all to do with, I don't want to say it has nothing to do with the numbers and the data and all of that, but it's how you feel. So like talking about goals for weight loss even. Okay, you don't want to lose weight. Let me rephrase. Your goal might be to lose weight, but why? What will you feel like when you do you want to feel healthy? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel good in your own skin? That's the part that you focus on. I don't even want to,
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's so important to me. I don't even want to hear numbers when it comes to wellness, to be completely honest with you. If someone is talking about weight loss, the first thing, and you know, I work on not judging and not making assumptions and all the things, but the first place my brain goes to is she wants a temporary diet. You know, and I'm working on that because it's not fair to make a judgment of that type. I've done the same thing to myself, but like you said, I don't even want to hear numbers.
Right. And it's the same with financial goals. People will come to me, well, I want to have $5,000 in savings. I want to pay off this debt. Okay, but why? Why do you think that's the end all be all? Because I did that. Like my family, we paid off all of our debt in 2017 and nobody threw us a party. Like nothing changed. My mindset didn't change. Nothing changed. So I was still stuck in scarcity. I still felt like we were living paycheck to paycheck. Like nothing changed, but we did it, you know, like we got to that point. We're not there anymore, but that's okay. But because I had to shift and change and learn, it's about the feelings. It's about the beliefs. It's about getting over the shame. Like women have so much shame and judgment around and guilt around their own money habits because we're told you shouldn't spend money on frivolous things. You shouldn't be this, you shouldn't do that. Girls aren't good with money, blah, 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 blah. Like there's so many stories that we have. So that's one of the things we need to figure out is, okay, yes, you have this goal. You think this is the answer, but why do you, what feeling is that going to bring you when you do hit that $5,000 in the bank or whatever? And we kind of dissect that and figure out what's stopping you from feeling that feeling right now. What else can you do to get there? And the more you practice the feeling, the more you're going to end up hitting the goal without even realizing it.
You know, I think too, that when somebody has this goal that they want to be out of debt, maybe what they're really saying is they don't want the overwhelm anymore. They don't want the drama. They don't want the fear that's associated with it.
A lot of it is they just assume they're supposed to be out of debt because debt is bad. They're just told you're not supposed to have it. Oh, well, if I'm not supposed to have it, okay, but student loan debt is okay for people and a mortgage is okay for people. If there's so many different kinds of money personalities and there's so much, it's way more for one conversation. But for some people, debt doesn't bother them. Some people debt does. Okay, debt is just neutral, like everything else out there. It's just neutral. It's your beliefs and your own problems that you're projecting onto it. That's what's making it into a monster or not. Yeah,
I totally agree. Even with diets, like there was a time in my life where I did have the 6-pack abs after, 5 kids. I did do the diets. I did do the things. I wasn't happy. Correct. I had a particular body. I had a set of guns on me and I had certain things, but I would go to a wedding and I'd be like, oh, they're going to have cake. Oh, the food is going to be covered in gravy. And I'm going to have to, how do I push my plate over to my husband so he can eat it? So people didn't see, I was not present in so much of my life because I was focusing on those things. And I still 100% believe that you should eat food that loves you back and that you should look at nutrition as power and energy and fuel. And, but there's room for queso and there's room for other things. And these mindsets, they just, when they're negative like that, they don't help us at all.
Right. Yeah. You're coming from the wrong space when you're trying to force a goal or force a result based on the fear aspect or the lack aspect or the scarcity or the I can't have because it's bad for me. Same with it's the same thing with money. I don't care what my clients spend their money on. You can spend your money on whatever you want. If it's important to you and you have put value on it though, that's different. Just like snacking, I call it unconscious spending. When you're going to Target to pick up one thing and you spend $200, you don't remember what you spent the money on. It wasn't really worth the money. You just got bored. So you were out there and spending it. It's the same kind of thing with falling off of a diet wagon because of snacking, I would assume anyway. Same kind of concept.
That's a dopamine hit. You're getting that hit, whether it's shopping, whether it's, alcohol, the dry January. There's lots of, lots of things that we're hearing about right now during the beginning of the year. And, dry January, another conversation. I really think that it's a good thing. But, I just think we need to be more aware of what really truly resonates with us, what makes us happy. It's like this, when it comes to well-being, the reason that I don't like hearing the numbers, like I want to be a size such and such, or I want to weigh such and such, blood numbers, maybe a little bit more.
Correct.
Okay. More accurate and more an indicator of well-being. But what truly, I think when I talk to women, and I'm sure you would agree with this when it comes to money, is this idea that you're supposed to feel good. Well-being is about having energy. It's, yes, you need the sleep to have the energy. And yes, you need all these things. But the end result is not about that number. It's not, it is really, truly, do you wake up with joy and enthusiasm? Are you excited to jump into your work or be with your family or go hiking or go on an adventure or whatever it is? What would you say on that?
Yeah, that's what I call, living in an abundant kind of a life. It's the same, I have clients who have $50,000 in the bank who are like feeling like that's the end of the world, and a client that would have $500 in the bank that feels as rich as can be, because the numbers don't matter. It's what you believe about yourself and the numbers, what you believe about what this number on the scale or in the bank account or whatever it is says. And that's the problem. You know, it's trying to figure out, why do you feel that way and how can you feel better? Like, it's all about feeling good and noticing the good around you, noticing the abundance around you, noticing what feels good, what do you want, which I think is key. A lot of us have no idea what we want. We're just following along what everybody else is telling us that we want, because we don't take the time to be still and be quiet and like listen to ourselves anymore. We've forgotten how to do that.
You know, you talk a lot about just feeling good about money. You know, this idea that money is this negative thing that nobody wants to talk about. You don't want to be greedy. You don't want to be this. And I think that like well-being almost falls into that same kind of thing, that if wellness comes easier for you, then you're shamed for it. If wellness is harder for you, then everybody gives you all the get out of jail free cards so that you don't have to go there. I think that loving money, okay, feeling good about money is just like feeling good about our bodies. The things that we love, we take care of. I feel this 100%. I love my children. I take care of them. Yep. I love my husband. I'm going to give him, you know, a little bit of when he's not taking care of himself. Right. And I rarely do I do that to me all the time. No, because sometimes I really struggle with the making time for myself, making myself a priority. I'm just like, I take care of everybody else. And then I run out of time and I say, oh, well, and loving me and loving my body, loving money, loving how money can make you be generous.
Yep.
Money can help you change the world. Be well. I really, truly believe that health and wealth are connected in 100%. So many ways. What would you say about that?
I agree 100%. It's fascinating. I did a poll a couple of years ago and I just put the words money is and a blank just to see what kind of responses I would get. And the negative answers from so many people, because we have it ingrained that money is bad. And even the fact that saying loving money, I bet you'll get reactions to that because people aren't, no, you can't love money. That's wrong. Like that's bad. Like you can love tacos. Like why can't you love money too? Right? So it's just, and because we're taught to not love money because that makes us selfish, that makes us greedy, that makes us wrong. We are taught that from a young age in the stories that we see, in the movies we watch, in the character development, in different books and shows and all. Like it's ingrained in us from a young age that money is bad, or if you have money, you're bad. So of course we're going to have problems with it as we get older and not want to or know how to love it and have it take care of us.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And I really love the conversation that we've had here. I think we've really hit on some really important points. And another stat that I wanted to bring up, and we'll kind of wrap it up on this, is this idea that for the 8% of people that actually achieve, their resolution, for the majority of people, they say, and I want to make sure I've got this accurate, that those that are active and participating in whatever their resolution is are more likely to make it through the month of January. But that 92% that fail, by the second week of February, it's done. So I know that you have a program where you help women map out their money mindset. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that it's about getting off the budgeting and focusing on the numbers. Just like my Seek program is about helping women really create a bespoke approach to focus on their sleep hygiene and their breath work and their movement and the food that they eat versus a number. So could you tell us a little bit about your program and how it helps women?
So it's called the Mindful Money Mapping Experience. It's better than, I call it my Better Than a Budget program. It is a numbers program, sort of. It's teaching women how to take care of their money and see their money in a totally different way than they were taught, because traditional budgeting does not work for most people in this day and age. So it's a different kind of a system where, yes, it's your money because you need to be aware of it, because it helps women get out of the survival scarcity kind of mode, because it's teaching them to look at their money, pay attention to their money, stop unconscious spending, and then look into the future so they can see it growing, they can see it changing, they can feel safe and stable and secure, which is what a lot of women don't feel when it comes to money because they don't know what's happening. They don't know what's going on with it. So it's a program that is relatively number focused, but there's enough mindset tweaks kind of snuck in there for people that it changes. It really does. It changes how women look at their money going forward, which then changes how they feel about their money.
And this is a multi-month approach, right? This isn't something that's like one and done in January and you've got all the keys to finance and you know what you need to do. And it's priced. And can you talk a little bit about how you priced it? Because so much of what we're talking about here is that we don't want to sell to women. We want to be advocates for women.
Correct. So this program, it's a 6-week live program. Basically, I have this set up so it runs 3 times a year. Once a woman joins this program, she's in it for life. So the biggest complaint with people when they're trying, just with resolutions in general, is trying to stick with it. They fall off and then they beat themselves up and they feel horrible. So this program, it launches middle of January and then it opens again in May. So during January, we get everything prepped, we get everything ready. The people who are already in it are jumping back in because maybe they fell off with the holidays. So it's a way for people to learn it during their own pace. It's a live program, but they have access forever, so they can take it as they need it, take bits and pieces. And then the group itself closes because it's a 6-week program, and then it reopens again in May, and then it opens again in October. So it's a constantly rotating, kind of an open door so that we can get rid of the shame of, oh, you failed. No, you just needed to take some time, and now you're back, and now we're getting back on, and here I am to help you again. The program itself is $497. It's just a one-time fee. And again, you get access for life. I'm adding in a debt module this year because that is a big problem that people think they have. So I want to make sure there's a way for them to look at debt, again, a little bit differently, and also have strategic steps, practical strategic steps, which is what this program is, on how to tackle their debt a little bit better.
I love that you have an opportunity. It's a one-time fee. You have it forever. And because what I've learned for myself, and the data speaks, I don't have the exact numbers at the moment, but when it comes to all the wellness tools, when it comes to all the diets, when it comes to the equipment and the supplements and all the thing, the one thing that seems to work consistently is connections and support.
Yeah.
Women want someone to connect with. They want someone who's on that same journey, whether that's their teacher or their instructor or another woman in the community who might be dealing with the same thing that she's dealing with. And this idea that you get to revisit it quarter to, or is it 3 times a year?
3 times a year.
3 times a year. So this idea that you're jumping back in every 4 months, life changes. I mean, you might be doing really great in one aspect, for one period of time in your life. And then you get hit with a diagnosis or, somebody loses a job, things happen. And so that ability to keep reconnecting and not having to re-up, I think is such a huge commitment from you, showing that advocacy for women is really, really important. The other thing is, I think it's so keen on your part, and I'm trying to kind of bring the same thing into the work that I do, is you're giving women time to try it on, do it, to see what fits. And then when they have questions again 4 months later, or like we said, circumstances change, they have an opportunity to be with you again, to be with these women that are in your community. And I think that is really, really, really important for women. Community is huge.
It is. And that's something that I wanted to build with this program, is the ability to be able to connect with each other, connect with me, because I'm in the group all the time. We have live coaching calls inside of there. So specific personal questions that can, privately still inside of this group, but people get the opportunity to open, because money is such a topic that it's a taboo topic. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's nice to know you're not alone, because there are other women in here that are the exact same situation or have already been through something similar. And once you realize you're not on your own, you have nothing to be ashamed of, all of that, it just, it gives you that empowerment that you need to start making the changes going forward.
I see it all the time in wellness. Women want to check out. It's like, you know what? It has never worked for me. I hear that all the time. It must be easy for you. It's never worked for me and I can't do this. And then they are carrying not the physical weight, but the emotional weight
Yeah.
The spiritual weight, that they know that there's something that maybe they might be able to do, but they haven't found the right person, or they don't have the money to invest in it. You know, that's another thing. I would love, love, love to invite you to come back and talk about when we invest money in ourselves and in our well-being. Because I hear from women all the time that they don't have money for good food, or they don't have money to join a community like mine. Even, I mean, mine is super economically priced, but I get that everybody is in a different, different place financially, or it's just not important enough, right?
That's the key.
And that's what I would love to talk about. We have money for Netflix. We have money for, you know, our queso, right?
Yep,
we have money for the things that we want. And sometimes we need to lift that idea that our wellness matters. We need to elevate that and throw in a couple dollars that way, whether it's a mindset financially, or a mindset spiritually, or a mindset physically. I think all of this is really important. And back to my Alzheimer's story, this disease is hitting women at an exceptionally high rate. And the cost for dementia care and cognitive care is through the roof. And I can't say it enough. Invest in yourself now.
Yeah.
So that you don't burden, you know, your family and everybody else down the road, because, you know, you can live physically, you're okay. You're there, but you don't know. And so it's such a scary disease. And I do my best to remove the fear from it, to see that I hold the keys to my own genetics and my own care. But gosh, you know, we really need to put a light on well-being for women, because I think that we have what it takes to change the world. I mean, we birth, right? We
are creators of life.
We are creators of life. And the thing that I hate the most about Alzheimer's, and I'll end on this, the thing I hate the most about Alzheimer's is it robs us of our sages.
Yeah.
It robs us of the women who have been here, who have done it, who have walked through it, who have the knowledge, and they lose that. And they aren't able. I want to be that sage in my family. I want my daughters and my grandchildren to be able to come to me and learn from the lessons that I've learned from, that I've walked through. And there goes the thumb. I have to be careful every time I do that, the little icon. So I want to thank you so much for spending some time with us today. This went a little bit longer than I thought it would. And being here on the Ditch the Dogma channel on YouTube. My name is Paula Marie Davis, and I want to help women connect with their inner healer and create a bespoke approach to wellness, a personalized approach to wellness that really resonates with them, that isn't about numbers, but is about longevity of the body and the mind and the spirit. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to ditchthedogma.com and check me out. And Jessica, why don't you share your website one more time?
Sure. My website is just my name, jessicakleine.com. Yes, there is an E at the end. And the same, I want women to start loving money in a way that helps them love themselves and helps them just reach their full potential. You can't do that if you have too many stories and hangups in the way.
I totally agree. And well, we're going to end on that. So let's go ahead and we'll roll us out.